Hello everyone, this is Al. Special welcome back to the Land of Empires, and today I want to make a brief guide on resource collection. Now this is a little different from a video I made previously, which was a comparison between resource collection, resource gathering, and other areas of resources like the battle disorder, etc. And recently I've discovered kind of something interesting about resource collection. When you take a look at the building information, you'll see that within these buildings, you have a production tab and a maximum collection tab. And the production is 1/10 of what you can collect. But based on my observations, this collectible amount actually regenerates really, really fast. Before, my assumption was that these would fill up 281k every hour. Now this is the Glorious 10 amount, so the highest amount you can obtain at the moment. And this information depicts the amount before Glorious 10, and these actually increase by quite a bit after level 30. So level 30, the amount that you can collect every however many amount of time is a very paltry amount compared to Glorious 10, which is 281,000 compared to a measly 5,300. Now the question in everyone's mind is upgrading these buildings actually worth it? Because if we take a look at the actual cost of upgrading these buildings, it's kind of high. Going to the spreadsheet I've created, the Land of Empires database, I recommend everyone check this out in case you haven't. It contains a lot of information about different upgrade aspects of the game. And if we go down here to Glorious 1 to 10 buildings, and looking at the resource building costs, we can see that the first tier only costs 11 cents per, minor tier. So you have to upgrade 5 minor tiers for each tier. And after you upgrade 5 minor tiers, you get Glorious 1, Glorious 2, etc. So starting out, it's relatively cheap. So these are normal cents of time. But it gradually becomes more expensive as you reach the higher Glorious tiers. So personally, I didn't really see any value in this at the beginning because I kind of assumed that this would regenerate 281,000 every hour, and that's not very productive because if we get 281,000 every hour and in every battle we consume like 10 billion resources, then this amount is not sufficient to make any difference. But what I found out recently is that if we take a look at the amount that we own here, so I'm owning 4,883,000,000. I won't go through the remaining numbers, but just focus on this 83 number here. Now I'm going to collect this amount and take a look at what I have right now. I have 95. So I went from 83 all the way to 95. And that is actually the maximum amount that I can collect. So if we multiply this number by 4, we get about 11.2 million. And that is actually the difference between the two numbers I just mentioned. But while you may think that I waited like an entire day to get that amount, I actually only waited about 10 minutes. And I've done a lot of calculations around that. And these resources are actually collectible every 4 minutes. And they do not fill up to the max like after 10 hours. Maybe this is the case for a lot of other games. But in the Land of Empires, you actually fill up to the max, for me at least, every about 10 to 11 minutes or so. So about 10 minutes, I can collect over 11 resources based on my current resource production speed, which is 533%. Now, this is completely free to play, at least based on the actual upgrades that you need to get to reach this production speed. So yeah, this was really surprising to me. And now, if we go take a look at the resource production skills, which is this skill in particular, you can use this skill once every hour. So let's double check the amount that we have right now, which is 95 million. Keep in mind, all my resource buildings are Glorious 10. And now I'm going to use this skill. But before I use this skill, let's just verify that with our food amount. So we have 33 million. You notice that I just collected my food not too long ago, maybe 4 minutes ago. I'm collecting it now, and we have 38 million. I went from 33 million up all the way up to 38 million. Now, this is not what you would expect with a measly 281K production. I collected over 5 million resources in just the span of a few minutes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that skill, and let's just double check again, 95 million. Let me use this skill right now. I went from 95 million all the way to 06. So I basically collected the full storage amount. So this was about a 11 million collection, and I can use this skill every hour. But really, the most amazing part of the resource collection, in my opinion now, is just by collecting these resources about every 10 minutes or so. Because as long as you have the collection speed that I have mentioned, you can achieve a 11 million collection by collecting these resources every 10 minutes. So what does this add up? So I made a few slides summarizing what I've just talked about. And once again, if you upgrade all your resource production buildings to Glorious 10, you can collect a maximum amount of 11.2 million. So this maximum amount doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You just have to collect it quite frequently. So I tested with my resource production speed, and I was able to collect 5.15 million. So this exact number, was achieved with a timer by my side. So I used a timer, and I collected at the 5-minute interval exactly from my resource buildings. And I was able to collect 5.15 million. So this adds up to 25 million per hour per building, which adds up to a grand total of 103 million food and wood every hour by collecting once every 10 minutes. Because at that production speed, it doesn't fill up until about 10 minutes. And just to confirm that the resource production speed does affect the amount you can collect or the speed it regenerates, I tested with the combat talent, which lowered my resource production speed all the way down to plus 242.5%. And I was able to confirm that the regeneration speed was slower, indeed slower with the reduced resource production speed. So if you are on a resource collection spree, then please set your talent to the resource gathering talent or economic talent, whatever the Land of Empire calls it. So I also mentioned during my demonstration, there are two resource boosting skills. So the bulging stockpile, which is what I used, it basically gives you a full storage every hour. And yeah, that's quite good. And the accelerated production, you cannot spam this as frequently as the bulging stockpile, but it basically allows you to collect 5 times the full storage not every hour, that is my mistake, every 12 hours. So now I want to talk about the value versus the cost. So if you are on a try-hard resource collecting spree, you want to spend the next 12 hours, say, watching your game or, doing that automated process, and you want to do it for 12 hours. So collecting once every 10 minutes for 12 hours will get you 1.236 billion food and wood. You can spam the skills as well. And in grand total, you can get about 1.5 billion wood and food per day. And this means that, at that level of collection, you will no longer have any resource issues for any kind of fight. Like, this is literally over 10 billion food plus wood every week, like over 30 billion a month. You're never going to run out of resources. So what is the cost of this value? Like, this value to me as one of the, I wouldn't really call myself a big fighter, but apparently I have one of the biggest kill counts. For me, this is very worth it because at the cost of about $208, accounting for all the Land of Empires discount, if you want to buy anything from the Land of Empires, please use their website. It is tax-free, and they frequently give you a 20% discount. You actually get 25% more dragon coins, but that translates to a 20% discount. It's just math. And furthermore, during some events, they actually give you dragon coins back for spending certain tiers, for reaching certain spending tiers. So that further reduces the cost, and it comes down to about $208 to max your food and wood buildings. Now, never touch the stone and iron buildings because you just get such an excess of them that it's pretty useless. So based on the database that I made, we can summarize that it costs 1,780 cents to get one resource building to Glorious 10, and a total of 14,000 cents to get all 8 resource buildings to Glorious 10. But of course, you can stop earlier. It's certainly cheaper. If we take a look at the steps, you can see that the efficiency kind of drops with respect to the cost. So at the beginning, you get a lot of efficiency per cents used. But after about Glorious 7 or 8, the efficiency drops quite a lot. Now, I was too lazy to make a graph of that, but you can envision that based on these numbers, hopefully. But yeah, I would recommend all wells, get your resource buildings to Glorious 10. Unless you already have a farming setup working, this will be very helpful for resource collection. Like personally, I'm not like a try-hard resource collection kind of person. Like I just collect my resources whenever I log into the game, and I don't log into the game that often. And I actually have not had any resource issues during my fights after upgrading my resource buildings to Glorious 10. So individually, you can decide if this is worth it for you. But for all wells, I would definitely recommend upgrading your Glorious buildings to Glorious 10. I think it is very helpful in terms of long-term resource generation, and it is very helpful to sustain your Land of Empires combat. I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and look forward to my next video. Hopefully, I'll make it sometime soon. Take care, everyone.